There is no centerfire handgun round today that even comes close to the ubiquity of the 9mm. It is just about as generic gets. If you were going to pick up a plain brown box off the shelf that simply had bullets stenciled on the top, chances are you would expect 9mm to tumble out when you opened it. And this is all with good reason. The 9mm has proven itself for ages now, and even today it possesses a perfect combination of desirable attributes compared to its competitors. However, there's still a lot most shooters don't know about this mainstay handgun cartridge. We're going to fix that in today's video, as I will tell you several shocking truths about the 9mm. We will get straight into it right now. This venerable cartridge is over 120 years old. When most shooters think of an old handgun round, they probably think of the .45 ACP immediately, designed all the way back in 1905. But would you believe that the 9mm is actually older? It's true. The 9mm was designed way back in 1901 by Austrian firearms genius George Luger, the very same designer of the Luger model of 1900 pistol that both bears his name and catapulted the cartridge into the limelight. That means that the 9mm is, as of this video being uploaded, going on 124 years old, still in widespread use around the globe, still a standard, and still a force to be reckoned with. This is one handgun round that is certainly long in the tooth, but showing no signs of slowing down. There have been many would-be claimants to the service pistol throne, but none have brought down the 9mm. I'll bet you that it will be around for another 100 years too. 9x9mm Parabellum is the official and correct name of the cartridge. When discussing the 9mm, pretty much everyone just calls it the, well, 9mm, or just 9 if you want to be really brisk. But you should know that the full, official, and true name of the cartridge is actually the 9x19mm Parabellum. That's a bit of a mouthful. This designation was originally bestowed on the cartridge. We have to peer way back in its history to the initial manufacturer, DWM, whose proper name in German translates simply to German Weapons and Munitions. The 9x19mm Parabellum was named so to distinguish it from similar pistol cartridges that were prevalent back in the day, most notably the 7.65x21mm Parabellum. That funny word, which roughly translates to "for war" in Latin, is taken directly from DWM's motto, also in Latin, Si vis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. Designed and made for the battlefield, the 9mm has certainly lived up to its moniker throughout the many decades between then and now. 9mm Para, 9x19mm, and 9mm Luger all refer to the same round. If you've ever paid attention when picking your own ammo at the gun store, you've probably noticed some peculiar naming conventions concerning the 9mm. Some ammo companies call it the 9mm Para, others simply 9x19mm, and yet others 9mm Luger. What gives? Are these different flavors or loads of 9mm? No, each of these distinctive names refers to the exact same cartridge that we're talking about today. Throughout the West, and that includes much of Europe, the 9mm Parabellum is more commonly referred to as the 9mm Luger, indistinguishable from the iconic pistol that first bore it. 9mm Para is simply an abbreviation of its full and proper name, and some manufacturers chop off the appellation entirely and just call it the 9x19mm. All you need to know is that whenever you make a pit stop to pick up some more ammo, they are all the same. I've got a lot more to tell you about concerning the 9mm, but before we move on to the next fact, do me a big favor and hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Those 2 clicks won't cost you a dime, but they mean the world to our channel. Plus, by doing so, you'll get notified whenever we upload a new video for you. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to it. Plus P and Plus P Plus loads are not for all pistols. Another thing you should have noticed if you're paying attention to the ammo you're buying, Plus P and Plus P Plus markings. These markings simply indicate rounds that are loaded to a significantly higher pressure than standard and a dramatically higher pressure than standard. How much higher? Plus P rounds have a nominal 10% bump in overall pressure compared to a standard 9mm load, which is around 35,000 psi at maximum. Plus P Plus loads, on the other hand, are well and truly loaded for bear, with no standard upper limit. Suffice it to say that both of these specialized loadings generate higher velocities for a given weight bullet out of a given length of barrel. This is typically a big advantage for self-defense and duty applications, but it comes with a downside you've got to be aware of. These higher pressures can beat up, break, or even destroy older pistols or those that are made to a very low standard. As a rule of thumb, most modern handguns made between the late 70s and today can handle +P loads with no problem, though the added pressure will increase wear and tear and accordingly speed up maintenance intervals for things like springs, pins, and more. +P+ rounds, though, should only ever be fired through modern pistols of excellent manufacture that have a reputation for strength and durability. When in doubt, check the manufacturer's manual or other published specifications concerning what sort of diet is appropriate for your 9mm handgun. It is increasingly popular in revolvers. I know it is anathema to some of the wheel gun faithful, but the 9mm is increasingly popular in revolvers these days. It's easy to see why too. It is extremely common, cheap, and very efficient out of the short barrel compared to the traditional .38 Special or .357 Magnum chamberings that are popular for self-defense. Capacity is also equivalent. Most of the time in a given frame size, typically 5 in a small frame in some medium frames and 6 in larger frames. Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Taurus, Charter Arms, Diamondback, and other manufacturers all currently produce 9mm revolvers in various flavors. Now, most of them do have a distinct quirk that buyers must know about. You'll need to use moon clips for easy loading and unloading. That's because the 9mm is a rimless cartridge, and without a specially designed extractor or cylinder, there's otherwise nothing for the gun to grab onto when you stroke the ejector rod to shuck empty cases or live cartridges. And don't count on shaking them out. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Moon clips make reloading very fast and considerably more positive under pressure compared to loading loose cartridges or even using a speed loader. Nearly all 9mm defense loads today meet the FBI standards for penetration. There is a whole lot to love about the 9mm cartridge when it comes to all-around performance. It offers modest velocity, great capacity, and manageable recoil. But for serious students of self-defense and professionals, what's even more important is that the vast majority of 9mm defense and duty loads on the market today meet the FBI recommended minimum standards for penetration in calibrated ballistic gelatin. That standard is 12 to 18 inches. Less is considered inadequate to cope with most variables attendant with shooting a human attacker, like clothing, angle, intermediate barriers, and so forth. More than 18 inches is considered excessive, increasing the risk of over-penetration hazards with no appreciable gain in effectiveness or expected terminal performance. 12 to 18 inches is the sweet spot, and reviewing published testing data for all kinds of 9mm loads across all typical weights, 115 grain all the way up to 150 grain at the high end, for manufacturers like Federal, Speer, Hornady, Remington, Winchester, and more, only a handful fail to meet the standard reliably. This is really good news for concerned citizens because, with a few exceptions, the only thing you need to worry about is whether or not your chosen defensive load will shoot to the sights and function reliably in your defensive handgun. After that, all you have to do is your part. The 9mm is the ultimate all-purpose pistol cartridge. This might not be a secret to some viewers, but it bears repeating for those who don't already know. The 9mm has rightfully established itself as the true all-purpose pistol cartridge of our era, and it likely will be for a long time yet. Despite the once prominence of the 40 S&W and the crash on launch of rounds like the 30 Super Carry, 9mm has proven over and over again that it has what it takes to handle any conceivable situation that might reasonably be asked of a handgun. It is very accurate, offers best-in-class capacity among centerfire cartridges, is plenty powerful enough for self-defense against man and most dangerous animals, has low recoil, and is quite affordable, comparatively. Don't minimize this latter quality, as lower cost means more training cycles, and more training cycles means greater proficiency. Greater proficiency means more hits, and hits are the only thing that matter when guns come out, whatever the purpose. Truly, unless you are hunting large and dangerous animals or are forced to travel and work in areas where they are prevalent, there's almost no reason to go with any other handgun round besides the classic venerable 9mm Parabellum. And that's everything you need to know about the 9mm, including a whole lot of things that most folks will never tell you about. Let me know what you think, what you really think about the 9mm. Is it still the undisputed king, or do you prefer another round instead? Let's talk about it down in the comments, and before you go, do make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any great upcoming content here on Guns You Can't Live Without. That's all I've got for you today, so thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.